Hi everyone, so before we get into this video, I'd like to introduce myself and my family. My name is Polly, my sister's name is Taylor, my mother is Gloria, and this is my stepfather Robert. Taylor, Gloria, and myself have been diagnosed with a rare genetic mutation called CDH1. This gives us up to an 83% chance of developing gastric cancer. The recommendation for CDH1 is stomach removal for cancer prevention. Robert had a gastrointestinal stromal tumor removed from his stomach a couple years ago. He is now in stage 4 and has been given 1 to 2 years to live. With these diagnoses, we went on a quest for help. Thankfully, we were enrolled in a gastric cancer study at the National Institute of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. This is our story. We had the pleasure of working with Maureen. She is the patient care coordinator and is absolutely amazing. Once all our paperwork was in, it wasn't long before we were packed up and on our way to Bethesda. Paul was so helpful. He's the travel coordinator. He made it so that we could meet each other in Dallas for our second flight. Once we arrived, we headed down to baggage claim and picked up all of our luggage. And we actually had the honor of running into one of our representatives, Jim Jordan. After that meeting, we jumped on a tram and headed to the rental car agency where we picked up a sweet minivan. We later learned that if you stay at the Hyatt Regency, which is where we stayed, you do not need to have a rental car. The metro is nearby and it's super easy to take. And there's also a shuttle that will take you to and from the NIH anytime you need. Needless to say, we were exhausted from our day of travel. We were hungry and anxious to get some fresh air. So we headed out and ended up eating at the World of Beers. We celebrated the fact that we had finally made it to Maryland. And we had a decent dinner. Taylor and Austin enjoyed a giant pretzel. My mom, Bob, and I had some tacos. Day 1, we were up bright and early and we headed straight down to Starbucks. Coffee was definitely on our priority list. Once we were ready, we headed down to the 7:15 a.m. shuttle pickup. 7:15 is actually the earliest time the shuttle will pick you up. There's a couple stops along the way at some other hotels, but overall the trip in the shuttle is pretty short. When you arrive at the gates, you will have to go through a security checkpoint. At the checkpoint, they will issue a day pass to you. Eventually, you can go and get an annual pass, and you won't have to go through the process of getting the day pass. When you step out of the shuttle bus, you will find yourself at the front entrance. There, you will go through a revolving door. And then yep, the main lobby area. I'm going to take the time here to point out some important areas. This may help to eliminate some confusion when and if you ever decide to visit the NIH. Just to the right of the front entrance is the reimbursement office. It is literally right where Taylor's arm is pointing. The information desk is right front and center. Not only are they full of information, but they are the kindest people, and they are willing to help with any and all of your needs. You will find a Starbucks just to your left here, and a gift shop where we got our sweet NIH sweaters off to your right. As you continue walking forward, you will notice that I made a little yellow carrot there on the top corner. Go through those doors and that will take you to phlebotomy. That was our first appointment of the day. You will check into phlebotomy here and then wait for your number to be called. I actually ended up only having to wait about 5 minutes for our number to be called. We were again greeted by the most kind, caring staff members. They treated us like we mattered, and we felt like we were really in the right place being at the NIH. If you are scheduled for an EKG, the department is located right where phlebotomy is. Don't forget to do it like we did. Next, we headed to radiology, which is literally right up the hall. We ended up separating from Bob here as he had CAT scan and PET scan appointments to follow. X-ray was really fast. They will have you change into a blue gown for the X-ray. First half of our day was done and we were ready for lunch. I wouldn't dare tell you how to get to the cafeteria. My suggestion is just to follow the signs. Apparently there are 2 cafeterias. We used the one at B1 and it was amazing. And when I say amazing, I mean it just wasn't your typical hospital food. They had sushi, salad bar, grill, Indian food, you name it, and it was fresh and delicious. We chose to eat at the Indian counter. We had curry with rice and fresh vegetables and naan bread. It was so good. After lunch, we headed to pre-anesthesia. It is just up the hall from radiology. You have to take the elevator to the second floor. You will find it just to the right as you step off the elevator. There we met with Brenda, the nurse practitioner. She was so amazing and really helped calm our nerves for our upcoming procedure. Do you remember that doorway that takes you to phlebotomy? That's the same doorway you will use to get to the OP3 clinic. Use the elevators just to the left and take it to the third floor. There we met with our doctors to have a consult about our upcoming procedure and also to have some questions answered about our diagnosis. We had an hour slated for our consult, and they ended up spending over 2.5 hours with us, answering every question in great detail. We feel so honored and blessed to be under the care of these brilliant doctors who have given us hope, which we never thought would ever be possible. That evening, we went to the Bethesda Crab House for dinner. It was a bucket list item for Taylor's husband, Austin. There's a few of us in our party that are vegan, so we did not partake. However, Austin raved about how fantastic the crab was. So if you're a crab lover, you will most definitely want to go and get crab at the Bethesda Crab House. Day 2 was our surgery day. We were up bright and early and headed to the hospital. Our operating room was just past the pre-anesthesia clinic. The surgery waiting area is just down the hallway on your right. When you arrive, if there is no one sitting at that desk, go ahead and pick up that phone and dial the number that is provided. Someone will be in to help you shortly. They had fresh cookies, coffee, and a big jug of water in the lobby. We were told to have nothing to eat or drink from midnight on, so we had to keep each other from indulging. It wasn't long before they called us back to be prepped for the operating room. We changed into hospital gowns, and anesthesia came and started our IVs. They had us go through a series of questions and made sure that we were ready for our procedures. The procedure we were having was called gastric mapping. Dr. Curtin took just over 100 biopsies from each of our stomachs. The biopsies were sent to pathology and screened for cancer cells. We absolutely fell in love with the operating room staff. They were the most genuine, kind, professional medical team. They actually made us feel like we were family to them. We were a little groggy from anesthesia, but we were ready to get up and get on with our day. After all, we were in our nation's capital, and we wanted to see all the sights. Robert received some exciting news today while we were in our procedures. He met with his team of doctors, and they feel like they're going to be able to help him with his cancer. We couldn't be happier, and it is definitely a reason for all of us to celebrate. All in all, our trip to the NIH was more than we could have ever imagined. If you or your loved ones are accepted into a study at the NIH, we hope that you have found this video helpful. We were pretty nervous going into the study, but after our visit, we feel like we absolutely made the best decision by participating. We are not affiliated in any way with the NIH. It's just simply my family on a quest to find our cures.